Welcome to another special Inside Carolina Olympic Sports Preview. Today it is Erin Matson and North Carolina field hockey. Matson, of course, one of the most decorated college athletes of all time in her time playing at North Carolina, took over a couple years ago as head coach from the legendary Karen Shelton and promptly won another national championship. Last year they made the Final Four after an undefeated run ended to St. Joseph's. This year, North Carolina looks to be just as good, if not elite, on the field hockey field there at Karen Shelton Stadium. Couple things, Johnny T-Shirt and JohnnyT-Shirt.com, always the sponsors of these shows. Go online to get your North Carolina swag. Inside Carolina in a new network home at On3. I'll talk about that in a second, but you can still get your great Johnny T-Shirt discount. Go to the Tar Pit Premium or the UNC Basketball Premium message boards and get that Johnny T-Shirt code for your 10% off. They have great gear, great swag. And on Franklin Street, they're alumni owned and operated. You can't get more Carolina than Johnny T-Shirt. And of course, you get that 10% off if you're an Inside Carolina premium member. How do you get that premium membership today? Well, Inside Carolina is with On3. We are officially part of the On3 network. You need to get your new account. If you don't have that account, go to On3, sign up for a new account. We have free content, free message boards. This Olympic sports message board is free, as well as the Diamond Hills and the UNC women's basketball and a couple other boards. But if you want to get the same great Inside Carolina premium content, you're going to need to register and sign up for a subscription with On3, running a deal. It's $1 for a couple months, but then you sign up, you get all the perks. You get the athletic that comes with it, great source of writing and content there. But most importantly, you get the Inside Carolina community you've known and loved for well over 2 decades here on the On3 network. Check it out. Ben and crew have assembled the great staff. The staff remains the same. Nothing's changed. Just go to InsideCarolina.com, sign up, register, get your premium subscription, do all that stuff, and join us over at Inside Carolina. Stay tuned for Erin Matson, Grace Nugent, and me talking North Carolina field hockey. Welcome into another special Inside Carolina preview show. I'm Tommy Ashley. That's Grace Nugent. Y'all will certainly remember Grace from our wonderful baseball coverage last season and look forward to that into the spring. But first, we're talking North Carolina field hockey with Coach Erin Matson. Erin, how you doing today?
I'm good. We have team dinner tonight and the run test first thing tomorrow morning. So we're in full steam ahead mode and everyone's just giddy with excitement. So I'm great. You're catching me on a good day, Tommy.
Good deal. Well, I know that you're giddy. I'm sure your players are really excited about a run test tomorrow. But
Yeah.
I want to get right into it and ask you, Greg and I talked to you, I guess it's been over 2 years ago, right after you were announced as head coach. And of course, everybody knows and is aware of your accolades on the field as a player. If I had to ask you one question, it would be, what have you learned in the past 2 years that you thought you knew as a player, but you did not have any idea from the coaching side of it?
Oh, great question. I guess I would say the first thing that comes to mind is I knew as a student athlete, because I felt it, I knew the level of support that Carolina provides, but I had no idea how many people it takes to run something like this properly. I had no idea how much support Coach Shelton had and how much even we as a staff support the team. My mind was blown with the number of people who are passionate about this place and who all have a hand in everything we do out on the field, even if it's not necessarily directly correlating. So I think that would be my first answer. I think the obvious stuff is you're sitting here talking to a 25-year-old head coach who was hired at 22. So all of the financing, the budgeting, the travel planning, again, I was an organized fifth-year senior, and I was taking care of business in the classroom, on the field, in the community, doing a lot of stuff. But it's a lot of work that goes into it, where a lot of people think we just go out and coach for 2 hours during practice, and that's the least amount of things that we do. So my world was opened up there as well. And I guess finally, I would say I had the privilege of leading a team and connecting with underclassmen and inspiring my teammates as a captain, and sitting and watching film with my teammates, and everything. But I think if you want, as a coach, to get the most out of your players, you have to be so in tune with them as people. And again, I had a taste of that as a captain, but there was a part of me that I was worrying about myself, what time I'm going to bed, what time I'm showing up to practice, how I feel on a given day. There's only so much you can care for others. And now it's literally my job to show up for everybody else around me. And I think it's amplified, if that's the right word to describe it, on how much we really pay attention to and want to learn and observe just how these guys are feeling every day, how my staff is feeling every day, what everyone needs, because what everybody needs is different, and so on and so forth. So again, I wouldn't say there's anything I necessarily am like super shocked by. Coach Shelton did a good job of mentoring me throughout the application process and making me aware of everything. But definitely things are amplified and more present, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we talked to you the first time, a lot of your teammates were also your players were also your teammates and slash friends, and that's sort of filtered out a little bit. How is that? I mean, I guess when you win a national championship as your first year as a head coach and then go to the Final Four your second year, I guess you've earned the respect of everybody if they had any doubts about the coaching side of it. But how has that been, sort of adjusting those relationships? Obviously, your players, the young ladies, are a big part of that as well. But for you, adjusting, we always talk about making suggestions versus decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's different in that regard with you because it's your buddies, your friends, your counterparts, and now, like you said, you're the mom of the bunch, even at 25, and you have responsibility for everybody, and not just you, and not just a couple more others. How's that been?
Yeah, so it's really interesting. When I was hired, I kind of phased it out and compartmentalized it in my brain to help make sense of things and how, I guess, when I was a freshman to a fifth year senior, my leadership style it changed tremendously. And then when I was hired, like you said, phase one, if you will, it was basically everybody except one or two who I didn't play with. So I was, like you said, I was coaching my roommates, my best friends, the people I was on Franklin Street with, like everybody. And that's phase one. And we got through that. And now we're kind of in phase two. And there's been evolution since between both of those, because right now it's kind of half and half. There's still a class that I've played with. There's a class that they weren't my recruits because we're recruiting 2 years out. So they were still Coach Shelton's recruits, but they were freshmen when I was hired. So I was their head coach. And then there's now this fall, my first recruiting class. So this is kind of like a jumbled phase. And then phase three, which will happen next, is basically clean slate. Everybody knows me as coach. So it's interesting to think about my own personal coaching journey so far and leadership style evolution and everything, with also the evolution of the team, in the reality that, yeah, some of them know me as only Erin, some of them know me as Erin and coach, some of them know me as coach. Like it's very interesting, but it's also really fun. I like puzzles. I think any head coach, that's part of what we love about our job is just helping people discover what's great about them and helping them figure out all of the different ways to get to an outcome, or, how can we innovate and make our program stay one step ahead. All of the puzzles of our profession are fun, and this is a unique one for me and for us. But I think at the end of the day, my philosophy of, I love the way you put it, suggesting is it's the whole point. My job is to help them discover. My job is not to dictate and to bark orders. And trust me, there are times where it's, hey, this is how I want it. This is how we're going to do it. But then it's explicitly said like that, and there's no question. And yeah, I got to back it with actions. And wins don't hurt anything. But along the way and in my position, I believe fully in the collaborative environment. And I learn just as much from them as they do from me and us. And I think that's where we just strike a very interesting balance. So that has not changed over phase 1, phase 2, and I'm sure it won't change in phase 3. But I lean into it. I love it. I think they love it too. They like the uniqueness of it, and basically, just not ignoring the fact that it is a challenge and it's present every single day. But we like having some chips on our shoulder for sure.
5 years as a player, a leader on the field, and then in your 3rd year now as a coach, how do you think your leadership style has evolved? And were there any big kind of aha moments where you learned this works for me or this really doesn't work for me? And how has that kind of changed?
Yeah. I guess talking about my 5 years as a player, I came in as a freshman and we laugh about it now, but I was barking orders and I was not waiting around to speak up. I was telling the seniors what to do and they wanted that. And we had a great relationship. Those guys took me and my class under their wings. Like we were very close right from the start, but I was speaking up in huddles. I was, telling people to give me the ball, this and that. But again, you have to back it with your action. So I was in a unique position that I could. But throughout my time as a player, I learned, I guess, just the effectiveness, but also the you get better buy-in when you have those open conversations and you meet in the middle and you phrase things because it's how you truly feel in terms of I'm hard on you. I'm asking this of you. I believe in this team because I want what's best for us. And then, I don't know, you just get that buy-in from everybody. So I became a much more empathetic leader. I became a better listener. I became obsessed with doing the small things off the field too, and making sure my teammates knew that one, I was taking care of myself so I could perform my best, but two, doing what the team needed and looking out for my teammates. So there was growth there. And I think another element of it is the vulnerability, and no one's perfect. And I carried that with me into my first year coaching. I carry it with me now. I said it on the team to the team on day one when I was first hired and introduced. I don't know all the answers, but I will, one, do the work to figure out the right answers for you, and I will ask all of the right questions to get us to the right answers. But who am I to say in a position where at the time I never had head coach in front of my name that I had all of the answers? I didn't. So being able to be vulnerable and confident in that, and being transparent with that, but also not shying away from doing the work to get there and set everybody up for success. I think that held a lot of power, where, again, looking back to my freshman year per se, I thought I needed to be perfect. I thought I needed to know everything, where we've seen the power in, okay, I don't know what to do right now. I'm going to sit on it. Give me 24 hours and I'll come back to you and we'll solve it together. And boom, there you go. You get the trust and the belief. So that's been something I've learned. And then I guess lastly, now I kind of alluded to it when I was talking about how towards the end of my playing career, but I'm a very vocal leader. The way our program works, the way the team has responded to me when I was out on the field, now they like the energy that I bring. And I think at first I was hesitant because that's how I was as a leader, as a player. But when I was hired, I don't know, it's the typical like imposter syndrome of, is this still going to work? Is this right? Have I been doing this right? And I fall back on the fact that people appreciated how I led as a player. I don't need to change that now. It worked. Now going into year 3, same thing. I can be vocal. I can bring the energy for the team. They need to bring it as well. but also coupled with that observant side of me, making sure everybody feels good, picking up on what my body language should be, just thinking through all of the little things, has helped me with that, and coupling that together has helped. And then I think also just reminding myself sometimes that I was hired to be a young coach. I was not hired to be a 45-year-old coach. I was not hired to coach like I've been doing it for 20 years, where sometimes, I look around in the rooms I'm sitting in, or at convention, or this and that, or I'm on Instagram, looking at all of the coaches I follow who inspire me. And it's easy to get wrapped up into what I should be doing or what feels right, where, again, multiple people who I'm lucky for believed in me and put me in this position for being me. And it's worked by being me. So just allowing myself to remind myself that, and also surrounding myself with people who help me remind myself that.
I mean, yeah, you talked about it. You're in a unique position as a young head coach. And I feel like so many of your just coaching peers, if you look at UNC in general, they're all just a lot older. It's a different generation. Besides Coach Shelton, probably, who are some of the other mentors that you look at to help you kind of hone how you coach, but also the work-life balance that comes with being a 25-year-old just human being in the world and the head coach of a program with such pedigree as UNC?
Yeah. Coach Shelton's on speed dial. She's fabulous. I could talk, Tommy, we were laughing about it. I could talk for 7.5 minutes just about her. But she will always be in my corner. I will always be in hers. She's helped me tremendously, but I have also leaned on lots of Carolina coaches. Jenny Levy is someone I bounce a lot of things off of. I respect her tremendously and what she's done. And I think she's an amazing mom, an amazing woman also. So to that side of your question as well, she's helped. Mac Brown was one of the first ones I sat down with before I was even hired. I'm sure you guys have heard that story, but I still look at the notes I collected from our 2.5-hour meeting, and just all of the insight he gave me there. I've sat down with Anson Dorrance as well, and just picked, again, another great's brain. So, I mean, the coaching family of Carolina is so, it's such a large range, but also a range of success through so many sports, through so many years. Scott Forbes, Courtney Banghart. I mean, I could literally rattle off Andrew with men's golf, every single person I've gotten the privilege to pick their brains. I'm just very lucky to have all of that right here, 2 minutes down the road, at any office, to be able to pop in and learn something. I've also, I guess, just with some of the things I've done with my own brand off the field and everything, I've been lucky to be surrounded by a pretty amazing group of women who, whether they're athletes or coaches, or former athletes or former coaches, just being able to learn from them. And they help a lot with, again, life in our profession right now, but also, being a mom, being a partner. It's very inspiring, again, when, someone who's so driven and so successful with their sport or profession can also carry that into their life. And I admire that. And then I guess the last piece of it, my friends and family are everything to me. My parents, they actually just moved down here to Chapel Hill, so you guys will be seeing a lot more of them, which is hard to imagine because they've been at every single game for the last however many, 7-8 years. But they are brilliant. My brother is my rock. My friends, I'm lucky. I have my best friend group, we all played here together. So they're alums of the program, but I can, when I'm leaving the office and I can go be a normal 25-year-old, they're right there, but they also get the position I'm in and love it and support it. So we have a lot of fun with that, like alumni best friend thing as well. But so anyway, I'm very lucky. I have a ton of support. I think largely it's because of Carolina and what this university's given me. And I think success, people gravitate towards that and want to share that and learn from it. So I'm very lucky, but I do believe in leaning on your people, and I'm glad I can do that myself.
Talking with head coach field hockey Erin Matson, you mentioned the coaching trees and the coaches around you, and that's one reason I wanted to do in doing these series of preview articles is highlight the teams. I mean, obviously Carolina football, Carolina basketball, you hear about that the most, and on down, but there's some legends and there's some legendary teams. You mentioned Jenny Levy, Karen Shelton, of course. You're on your way to do that as well. I wanted to ask, I do want to talk about the current team, but I wanted to ask, when you come in and you replace a legend, nobody wants to be the guy that replaces the guy. But you've had the opportunity to do it, and I think part of your success is because you were in it internally as a player and saw it, and you didn't come in wanting to change things right out of the gate. We've seen coaches come in and want to, this is a winning program, let me do something different. Doesn't work that way. But how have you adjusted maybe some things Coach Shelton did? Damon talked about the other day that Anson has all this success, but he still wanted to put his shape on the program and his sort of style on it. How have you done that and been able to do that? Or have you just left it rolling the same way as it's been? Because, success is tough to achieve, but once you get it rolling, you can pretty much keep it rolling as long as you don't mess it up. How have you done that?
Yeah, definitely. I think, well, I guess I'll preface it with, I'm a big believer that you don't need to do big things to make big change. It was one of my, I guess, priorities coming in, which sounds kind of backwards, but it was just a mindset of let's modernize, let's innovate, let's evolve, let's not change anything. We really didn't, and we really haven't. We've kept the same practice schedule. We've kept the way we run practice. If anything, it's just a little more modern. We use more GPS and AI. We use our Teamworks is where our calendar lies and our way of communication to the team. We use this platform called Player Dash. So basically it's more, it just runs cleaner. It runs smoother. It runs like an operation. The information's more accessible. So they're looking at, the film or the plays or whatever, and they can just click a button. So we implemented software like that. So we just want them learning. I mean, we kind of love the, and again, it wasn't like a rebrand, but more so I wanted the program to respect the tradition and the history, but also reflect me and young. So it was one of the first things I did was refurnish the entire facility because I believed it didn't look like me, and now it does. So people come in, they feel comfortable, they feel at home, and it looks like Erin. We, with gear and everything, we take pride. We're a young staff. We have fun with that. That matters with today's student athletes. So we have fun designing things and working with the equipment room. And again, it's not a big change, but we get constant feedback from the team about how much they love the gear and this and that, and they want to wear it. It makes them proud and everything. So, that I'm a big believer in that little step, and then making them just a little more confident as they show up off the bus, on game day or whatever it is, and their chest is puffed out just an inch more. That matters in the game. I think the way we've done film, again, we've just cleaned it up. So it's very clear what they're getting. It's very clear what they need to fix, what the next action step is, and so forth. So I can give you a lot of examples, but it's not like we came in changing a ton. I guess the final example, people just knew what Carolina field hockey meant under Coach Shelton. She was here for 42 years. The success, the way she built this place, and the way the alums paved the way, you just knew what it meant. But, you look at all the companies, Nike, Google, Apple, whoever it is, they all have their values. They all have their standards. Every employee who walks in, they see them on the board every day, and it's explicitly written. So we did that. We just took what it already meant, what we already knew, and put it down there. Now our values are on the stairs. They get it in their binder every year. They know what the standards are. The leadership group that we kind of optimized also, we had before, we just made it run a little differently. They mentor the younger classes. So again, there hasn't been a ton that we necessarily like totally got away with or completely pivoted with. It was more just let's modernize, let's just become more efficient, become whatever the right word is. But that's kind of how we've kept the success going with still like honoring the tradition, but let's also push the limit and not get complacent or comfortable at all.
I'm going to let Grace ask a current team question, but I got one more that you brought up there. You mentioned brand, and you've got NIL, you've got transfer portals, you've got all these different aspects that even weren't that big a deal when you came along.
Yeah.
How do you manage that? I mean, I gather from talking to you and from watching you, and forgive my language, you'll bust somebody's ass if they're not doing what they're supposed to do. How do you, sorry, Ben, how do you handle that aspect of coaching these young women to be competitors, to be fighters and all that without pushing them away? Or, everybody likes to be coached differently. Some people can take being yelled at, some people cannot. How do you balance that, knowing what success looks like, knowing what personal success looks like, and knowing that the way you do it works, even if it doesn't work for everybody? Where's the balance in this new era of college athletics as a whole?
Yeah, great question. I'll give you, I guess, before I get into my answer, I would say I will never drop my standards. I know what standards need to be hit in order for us to win and to bring trophies home. And it is easier in a sense for me to coach from there because look, I was in your shoes. We did it. We have 3 coaches on staff. I have a staff of 6. 3 of us came through this program, are alums of this program, and we're national champions in this program. So we all know what it takes. And even when I, have to get on them, or we have a hard practice, or us as a staff have to lay into them, we have to remind ourselves that we can't drop our standards just because we want to be nicer or gentler or anything. So I don't believe in that. What I do believe in is, and we've kind of touched on it, but is setting that foundation and making sure they know we care about them as people, making sure they know we will do whatever it takes to have them set up for success. One of the things Mac Brown told me, and I carry it with me every day, is he said, Erin, you have to make sure your people know you will fight for them. And we do that on the front end. So I have one-on-one meetings with the girls throughout the season where the rule is we don't talk about hockey unless you want to talk about hockey. Otherwise, tell me about your family, tell me about school, tell me about your friends. How are you doing? I feel like I need to have a relationship with them and a connection with them in order to, 1, understand how they want to be coached, how to get the best out of them. But then 2, when it is hard, and when it's time for hard conversations, when it's time for uncomfortable conversations, whatever that is, then that allows me not to shy away from that. And they still know I care about them as people. We do it in practice. If there is someone who I know or my staff knows we've done the homework on the front end, who likes to be yelled at. I was someone like Coach Shelton knew she could lay into me, and I responded well to that. And there are people now, of course, they like it intense. They like it harder than others. And if that's the case and that's what we do, then sometimes all you got to do is pull them aside after and say, hey, I was hard on you today because I know you can take it and I believe in you. And I believe in you getting to this next step, or I believe in you doing this or whatever. You know how much I just want what's best for you, right? And sometimes it's all they need to hear. But again, that foundation that relationship and that connection was built so that we can do that. And then, yeah, to your point, Tommy, you need to know who you can't do it to and who you need to get creative with and still get the most out of them without maybe necessarily, just seeing red. But it's not, that's not our default. We're not just out there flipping off, but sometimes it happens. Sometimes they need it. Sometimes, whether it's individually or a group. And the only way you're going to actually make a positive impact with it, I guess, is if that foundation is there. So we put a lot of time and energy into that privately, like individually with them. And each of us building a good relationship as a team, talking in sports psych sessions, what their identity is, what they want, how you come to Carolina because you want to be in those high pressure situations and you want to be pushed to get uncomfortable. So yeah, it's definitely something that is present on my mind every single day. And it is tiring and it drains you sometimes, and sometimes you get it wrong again. But above all, it's what's fun about it, because it's another puzzle where you just are trying to get the best out of them. And you're also able to build some really, really, really lasting, meaningful relationships with them. So yeah, it's tricky. And there are a lot more outside factors now, like you were mentioning. But that just means you need to be more attentive of it.
Turning towards the current team, as much as I loved that conversation, but two of the names that I think really pop out when Tommy and I were looking would be Riley Heck and Charlie Bruder.
Yep.
Riley Heck, 2-time ACC Player of the Year, and then Charlie, your top goal scorer. What do you expect from those two this year, and are they going to take some of that vocal leadership role that you talked about that you love having in a team?
Yeah. They're superstars. They're fun to watch. They're literally players where you as a coach are watching. Oh, sorry about that. I think the power just went out. You as a coach are watching practice and they do something and all you do is just laugh to yourself because you're like, there's like, who does that? Who's able to do that? Who thinks like that? They're a joy. They've been working so hard over the summer, and I think they're going to come back making an immediate impact. You saw it from Riley already. She was overseas with Team USA. And any field she's on, she's making an impact, scoring goals, breaking some ankles. So we're really excited, obviously, with their skill and as players. But yes, both have grown tremendously as leaders, and we put a lot of emphasis into the leaders of the team. And Riley, they both are in our leadership group. Riley had a taste of being a captain this past spring, and she did amazing with it, and she's grown so much there. So it's really exciting when you have players like them on your team, but also leaders and people like them on your team. I think we're really excited. I could go on and on about a lot of players, but those guys will definitely stand out.
And then you talked about that this is your recruiting class. Some of these freshmen we've heard are probably going to make an impact, see the field really early. Who are some of the freshman names, and what do you see from this class that really just pops out to you?
Yeah, I think as a whole, this class excites us a lot. They're obviously very meaningful to me, but they're a very unique class of down-to-earth girls who are already so close and fit so seamlessly with the current team. And obviously we try to recruit players and people like that, but they are also workhorses, which is really exciting. So that coupling of down to earth, obsessed with Carolina, like we'll go watch them. We went and watched them throughout the summer, and like their parents have Carolina hats on. They're in their Carolina hoodie in between games, like absolutely obsessed with Carolina, which, we love. But do not shy away from the work and coming in as freshmen ready to go and learning and everything. So it's going to be really exciting. Reese Anitsberger actually came in early this past January and was with us in the spring, which was huge for her development, and she'll make an impact right away this fall, which we're really excited about. We have Jenna Narleski, who's been in the USA pipeline, who, again, another workhorse, very athletic family, and great kid. Reed Miller's a local girl, who we always have a warm place in our heart for our Carolina girls. And she is one of the most athletic people I've ever seen. There's the Sana Hawk on our team. She's a senior, but she always is the one who's crushing our run test. I think Reed's going to give her a run for her money tomorrow. But Sana's ready for it and doesn't shy away from it, but that'll be fun. She'll make an impact. Merritt Skubich, she's a goalkeeper, best goalkeeper in the class. Great girl. Lovely family. We have a couple transfers too, who are not true freshmen, but incomings, and Riley Heck's sister's one of them. Danny from UVA. We have Katie, who's another goalkeeper. Merritt and Katie are going to have a lot of fun in between the posts. So anyway, as you can tell, I'm extremely excited about the girls joining the program this year, just by how they carry themselves and what the value they add off the field, but also really excited to see what they're going to do in between the lines.
Gonna let you go. I pushed you beyond where you said you would, but you're a talker. You freely admitted you're a talker.
I know.
Let me ask you a fun question.
Mm-hmm.
Erin Matson hears from the NCAA, and they've granted her another year of eligibility. And you have the ability to go out there and play. Are you the best player on the team still?
Hell yeah, Tommy. No, no, I don't know. I'd be a little rusty, but I definitely jump out when I can. And actually, when I was first hired, I purposely didn't go out there and play because, again, it was too close removed. They needed to see me as coach. Where now we're in phase 2, right? It'll be exciting to be able to get out there and make life hard for them a little bit. But there were some times in the spring where I popped out and they love it. I have fun. They definitely run circles around me, but as long as the stick's on my ball, I can still put it away.
That's awesome. It's always fascinating to talk to people that they've done it. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the greatest things for a coach or for a mentor or whatever, I'm never going to ask you to do something I haven't done.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you embody that for North Carolina field hockey for sure. And it was in the immediate past. So there's video. And it's not like if it were me and you have to go get a book from somewhere. But mm-hmm. Yeah, it's fascinating, Erin. And I appreciate you taking the time to join us. It's always good to talk field hockey, talk Olympic sports with some of the people that make North Carolina what North Carolina is across the athletic and societal landscape.
Thank you. No, I always enjoy it, and I appreciate you guys covering it. And we have a lot of fun here, but we'll try to make it as fun and exciting for you guys too.
We'll have to check it out. North Carolina field hockey getting fired up. Big, tough schedule. Check out the Go Heels website. Check out Inside Carolina for field hockey news. And this interview with Erin Matson, Cade Shoemaker, will have a preview article. That's Grace Nugent. That's Coach Matson. I'm Tommy Ashley. And always, Johnny T-shirt, johnnytshirt.com.